Right then, guys, good morning, afternoon, evening, depending on when you're listening to us at the moment. And welcome to our Player or Layer Ante Post podcast from Ryanair Horse Racing. So today, just giving you a bit of information about the format. We're going to be looking at 10 horses. We're going to be looking at 4 hurdlers and 6 chasers who are currently Ante Post Favourites for the Cheltenham Festival. Now, the concept of the podcast is to see where we are at with each horse and at this moment in time. Would we want to play it or would we want to lay it? Now, of course, at this minute in time, 90% of the horses that we're going to be talking about are going to be the ones that you're going to be sticking into Accas or to roll-ups rather than singles. But we thought we'd just try and give you a helping hand. And to help even more, we've got 2 very able judges, if I do say so myself, of National Hunt horses. Bo joins us as always from his very busy jet-setting schedule. So as always, Bo, massive thank you and appreciate you giving your time up. And I'm also very pleased to say we are joined by friend of the show, very popular Ginger Joe, who is the host of his own very successful podcast, the Ginger Joe Podcast. So, Joe, I'm going to come to you straight away, mate. Firstly, thank you very much for coming on. Really, really appreciate it. Just how much this year, because this is what we were speaking about the other week, myself and Bo. How excited are you for this year? Because it seems like there's a little bit of a buzz about this year in terms of some of the divisions and lots of question marks. And yeah, what's your general feel to it this year?
Yeah, nice one, Craig. Thanks for having me on, lads. It's like I said, we talk every day, so we might as well do it on a podcast anyway. Yeah, delighted to be on. But yeah, Craig, look, as soon as we sort of get near the ledger, I sort of start checking out from the flat anyway. I do like flat racing, but jumps is where my heart's at. So this is the exciting part for me. We've sort of just had the French season, we've had the point-to-point recruit, so now it's time for all of the racing under rules. I can't be more excited than we are now. This is it for me. So yeah, really excited, Craig.
And Bo, obviously, this this little format doing tonight, obviously, player or layer probably suits some of your betting styles. Obviously, with the roll ups and stuff like that, I'm sure we might come across a couple of the horses today. Have you got many roll ups on at the moment?
Yeah, I've got quite a few down already. To be honest with you, I've kind of changed my tact a little bit, and I've just mainly focused on getting Gaelic Warrior in the book for the Gold Cup. So that's taken up a lot of my time. But yeah, it's great. It's great. With the podcast is getting a bit more professional, isn't it? When we got such a man like Ginger Joe on with us, so we've just gone up in the world, I think.
Yeah, we've got to like sort of speak a bit more proper and stuff, haven't we? Just try and make
Yeah,
sure if he doesn't ask
Oh,
those people that he knows and stuff, it's all. Yeah, I get
it's
that.
all good, lads.
I
Free
get that.
reign, free
You
reign.
won't you won't think it just like if you read his book WhatsApps, would you? But anyway, there we go. Right, so I'll tell you what we're going to do, lads. We're going to start with the hurdlers, and we're going to start with the champion hurdle. Probably nowhere else better to start, really. The new Lion. Now, he's currently 4-1 favourite. He's favourite as well for the fighting fifth, which I believe Dan Skelton says is going to be his target. Joe, we'll start with you. Obviously, guest on the show. Just give us a quick overview of where you see the new line at this moment in time in regards to the champion hurdle picture. Obviously, there's a couple of other horses in that are going to
Hmm.
cause a little bit of a conundrum, but where do you see at this moment in time?
Well, the thing with the new Lion, Craig, is he shows probably every attribute that you'd want to see in a champion hurdler, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's good enough at this point in time. He's quite a slick jumper. He travels quite nicely too. But if you want to look at the bare form and his current rating of 159, he's still got to come up to the level of State Man. He's still got to improve probably £7 to reach Lossiemouth's level on the basis that she's going to get the allowance, if you like. So there's a lot to take into consideration for a 4-1 shot this far out. And I know it's very easy for me to say as a Barry Connell fanboy, if you like, but I don't think there's much difference with the new Lions form by winning the Turners in comparison to the William Money form behind Kopek de Board. And the price is just, there's too big a gap to get involved with the new line. So the 4-1 doesn't interest me. Look, I'm a big fan of Amsterdam as well, and he's coming over for the fight in fifth. I would much prefer to take my chance on him for the time being. I think the new line's got a lot to prove, and I'm not actually convinced he is a pure 2 miler, despite the fact he travels well, despite the fact he jumps well, despite the fact that he's an unquirky horse, which generally tells me you're probably going to get the best out of him every time you decide to back him. You don't want to go into the race backing a horse with quirks because you can lose your bet before they've got to the race course. But it's just a 4-1, Craig. It doesn't interest me with a horse like him that I still feel has plenty to prove at this point in time. Don't get me wrong, he's a lovely, lovely horse. He really is. And it would be great to see Dan Skelton win the champion hurdle. But on the bare form and what we know currently, he's got to improve a fair bit for me.
Yeah, but this is something that I think we've half touched on. I think it was a couple of podcasts ago about the new Lions Cheltenham win, and I don't know if it was yourself, was it me or you that said it? It might have been me actually. To be fair, that just said that when you're looking at a horse that might be a champion hurdle winner, it didn't scream out to me when you watch that. What's the Bartlett? Not sorry, no, it's not the Bartlett. So what's the Turner's back?
Yeah,
He was getting scrubbed a bit at the bottom of the hill, wasn't he? It wasn't like he was like coming on the bridle and just like swooping round. He sort of got on top quite late on, which
yeah.
is that something that's a concern to you as well?
I'd have some slight concerns. The one thing I would say is that if he was 8-1, we'd be having a very different opinion on him. I think, as Joe said, he's got all the attributes to make up to be a champion hurdler, and we could very much see that next season. And we're going to find out a lot more when we watch the Fighting Fifth. But you've got to take his price at the moment into consideration. 4-1's very skinny. Um, I think, having watched it back a couple of times, I'd actually put a different spin on it now. I think the horse was actually good enough to get Harry out of a bit of a hole. I'm not sure it was Harry's finest moment when he tried to go up the inside and ended up behind a couple of horses, and then when he went to make his move outside, they'd kind of gone, and he had to make up that ground. I think the horse was very good to go and make up that ground at that hill. So maybe you could add a bit more onto the form, and Final Demand and the Yellow Clay could turn out to be very very top horses. But you just keep going back to that 4-1, and that is very skinny. Um, I think there's other horses in here that you'd much rather be backing. Now, it does look like one of them races that there's a lot of question marks over a lot of the horses in there, but I'd much rather be backing Lossiemouth at nearly double the price myself. Obviously, she gets that allowance. I just think he's got a lot to prove, and to be so short, it's just not a price I'd want to take.
Do you guys think he's going to win the Fighting Fifth? Just out of interest, or?
Well, it's really funny you should say that. To be fair, Jux, that was actually going to be my little point in it. I don't think the Fighting Fifth odds at this moment in time probably reflects on where I think it is at this moment in time. I think is he still 13-8? You might be able to see it in front of you. Is he 13-8 favourite? I think at the minute.
Last I saw, he was 13-8. Yeah, I think you've got Amsterdam into sort of 3-1. I think Conhill was about fours, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, we could have an egg on his face. Don't get me wrong, but there's no way on God's green earth that I'd be touching the new Lion for a champion hurdle at 4-1. And he could turn out to be by far the best horse in the race. He could turn out to be an absolute superstar. But there's just this nagging doubt in the back of my mind that, you see, this whole thing as well with people mentioning about the what used to be the Ballymore, now the Turners, where horses can come back to 2 miles. I think it was actually Liam that put a stat on, Liam Firkin put a stat on Ante Post Angle about this myth a little bit about horses dropping back. I mean, we know Forheen did it, but not many horses have actually done it.
Yeah,
Not
I
many
think because
horses
because
come back.
everyone thinks of Forheen doing
That's
it.
it.
It's like,
Yeah, and because it's a
sticks in your
Richard
mind.
horse, Willie Mullins horse, everyone's like, oh, well,
Yeah,
Forheen did it. Yeah, but that's Forheen. With all due
yeah.
respect, probably one of the
There's not many
best.
Forheens, is there?
Yeah, there's not many of them. So yeah. So right. So very quickly, we'll just quickly run through each person. So I'm going to go at this moment in time for Lay. What are you going for, Bo?
Definitely a lay at this moment.
Joe, you the same, Lay?
Yeah, absolutely. At this point in time, yeah, 4 turns too short, so I'm a layer for sure.
Okay,
The one thing I
cool.
just wanted to say there was on the Fighting Fifth. If Constitution Hill is 4-1, I would definitely be having a bet on him, because I think it's like he either goes and wins, and he comes crashing in price for the champion hurdle, or he that's it. We just forget about him. We never back him again. It's almost like one last go on him. I think one last roll of the dice, because I do think that these two. I mean, Amsterdam's a complete unknown quantity, isn't he? For him to be 3-1, like, come on. I know he's Willie Mullins, but he's complete unknown. New Lion again. I think they've both got to get up to his level. So yeah, I'd definitely be backing him at fours. That's ridiculous.
But I was just saying, I'd be a little bit. I don't know how much you heard, so I'll just briefly say again. I'd be a little bit concerned if the ground turned up to be soft or heavy at Cheltenham as well, because he was a point-to-point horse before he ran under rules, and they actually pulled him out 3 times before he made his debut because they said the ground was too soft. And the fact that he's got quite a high knee action, really, I'd be a little bit concerned, like I said, for the 2 mile. So yeah, soft ground is also a worry for him. Sorry, Craig, we went off on a tangent there, but I'm definitely
No, no, no. Listen, it's all good, mate. It's all relative and it's all talking horses. So honestly, don't worry about it at all. Right, we'll move on to a bit of a funny one, really. Actually, it's the Mares Hurdle, which is now, obviously, I'm sure everyone understands, has now been switched to the Thursday. So it's from the old course to the new course. Hasn't changed at the top of the market. Lossiemouth is still, I believe, now 2-1. I think the last time I saw it, I think it was best price. I don't know if that's now changed, but it was 2-1.
9-4.
No, 9-4. No, sorry, right. Okay, 9-4. Then now we lost him off at the front of the market. Bo, we'll start with you. First of all, do you think she's going to run here? And secondly, if we assume that she is going to run here, does she have anything to really fear?
I don't think she's going to run here, but if she did run here, then I think she probably would have some to fear. I don't know what the plan is with Jade Grugy, but Woodoo as well, I really like. So I'd be very interested in her. But I think we're quite far out still. So to be taking 2-1, 9-4 on a horse this far out, when there are question marks about where she's going to go. I know in Woody's sort of tour recently, they were talking about the mares, but I think with how murky that champion hurdle picture could look, I think they could easily switch her there. Particularly if like Amsterdam doesn't look like he's up to the level, and obviously State Man's getting a bit older. I think she could be their leading light there. It's all guesswork, but to take 2-1 now, I mean, she's still even got to get to the day like injury free. Hopefully she does, but that's a short price when there are enough question marks for me. So if she gets here in one piece, she's going to go and win. But yeah, 2-1 short.
No, I totally agree. I think this could probably be another full house. I think my main concern would be 9-4 this far out. If Amsterdam flops in the champion hurdle, in the fighting fifth, and Lossiemouth beats State Man, for example, at the DRF, then she's definitely going to go champion hurdle. There's not going to be two ways around it. So for me, there's too many question marks. Very similar to you, but I also think as well with it going on to the new course that it actually increases the chances for Woodoo as well. I think the course probably definitely suits her, maybe even better than what the old course does. Joel, just quickly come to you. I think it'll probably be quite unanimous and probably similar to us guys, but we'll bring you in.
No, I think she's a bet right now, lads. I do.
Wow.
Now look, you asked me this question last year, and I wouldn't have been so sure, but I would say she's almost an absolute certainty still to go to the mare's hurdle. Now, the factors for her going to the champion hurdle would be that State Man doesn't turn out, Amsterdam doesn't turn out to be that good. But it's not in Willie Mullins's MO. Like the fact of the matter with Lossiemouth is she is the best mare either side of the Irish Sea. Willie Mullins is, in my opinion, no way going to take her out of the division she is best in, risk her in another race, and then bring in a substitute to try and win the mares because I think that can just go terribly wrong. So providing State Man though still gets to Cheltenham in one piece, I don't see her going anywhere else but the mares. I am someone who wouldn't mind backing her actually at 9-4 because I think she's going to go off 8-11, 8-13 on the day. But I'd probably wait until a little bit nearer the Hatton's Grace. We've got time. I don't think she's going to get much shorter between now and then. So I'll just save myself a little bit of extra pressure with potential injuries. If she gets to the Hatton's Grace in one piece, I think she's going to win that, and I think she'll go on to win the mares again. It just doesn't. It just doesn't fit Willie Mullins' MO in history to send her to the champion hurdle. As racing fans, of course, we want to see her go to the champion hurdle because she's good enough to run in it. She's potentially good enough to win the race. But I don't see any scenario, bar the fact State Man doesn't get to Cheltenham, that will affect Lossiemouth running in the mares myself. So I'm a player. I am more than happy to back her. But again, wait till the Hatton's Grace. Just make sure she's okay first and foremost.
That was kind of my argument last year with her going to the mares. So I can totally see it.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for me to desert that argument now.
We'd love to see her in the best race, though. That's what we want. That's how we get the crowds. That's how we get the excitement. But look, go win the race that she's the best in the division. Don't risk sending Jade DeGruge or Cargazzi there and then getting beat by Woodoo. It just doesn't make sense to me personally. But plenty of time to decide.
No, very valid point. So we've got one player and two layers there, and that actually a couple of those comments is quite fitting now for the next horse we're going to speak about, which is Bambino Fever. Now, she's currently best price 4-1 for the Mares Novice Hurdle. Joe, I'll come back to you to start with. Going on the logic in regards to Lossiemouth, are you sort of similar in this respect in terms of Bambino Fever for the Mares Novice? She's clearly going to be one of the best mares in the race. Unbeaten, obviously, in bumpers. Are we probably going to see again another odds-on shot?
I don't know if she'll be odds on come the day, on the basis that I can't really tell you how good her her rivals are at this point. There's a few that could turn into nice horses. I think Nation or the Nation or however you got to say it in French. I think she's going to be a pretty nice horse for Gigginstown. But again, look, to be honest, Bambino Fever probably showed me up a little bit last year. I'm not a fan of backing mares against the Geldings in bumpers, but she progressed throughout the season and managed to get it done. I know we've had Relegate and the other Rich Ritchie horse, Fiona, who won it some time ago. But generally, you find a better Gelding than a mare, even with the £7 allowance. So I'd be disappointed if there wasn't a better horse from the Willie Mullins yard, 2 or 3, to be honest, that end up in the Supreme. So again, I think she'll end up running against her own sex, and it's just too early to bet in this race for me. So on that basis, I would be a layer for the time being. I'd like to assess what she's going to come up against a little bit more first, perhaps.
Yeah, similar really. I think she'll. I don't think she'll go to the Supreme. I think she'll go here. I'm going to be a layer purely because of the nature of the race. Some of the horses are so unexposed, or they're improving at massive rates. So it's really difficult to know what in there is going to go and win. So, I mean, looking at it here, the last favourite to go and win the race was in 2018. And obviously, Willie Mullins at the time had 3 in a row. So the first 3 renewals, he had the three favourites. They all went and won. Since then, we've not had a favourite win. So you'd imagine even if she's just going to look really impressive and she goes off odds on, I'll still be against her. Purely from that reason, really. So yeah, it's not a race that I'd want to be backing in at the prices.
Yeah, it's a strange with Bambino Fever. If someone says to me that they stuck it in one of their Accas, for argument's sake, I wouldn't think that they were stupid for doing it. I can see the logic as to why you would. Obviously, winning the DRF bumper, the Cheltenham bumper, and the Punchestown bumper, it does take some doing. It takes a good horse to do that.
That's very true. Yeah,
she's clearly got a hell of a lot of ability. Obviously, Jodie's been on her all the time. I would probably imagine that will switch over to Paul Townend. Not disgracing Jodie Townend at all, but getting Paul Townend on her as well will be a massive plus. So you can probably imagine there'll be a little bit of improvement there as well. If there was an on the fence, I'd probably be on the fence, but I am swaying more towards the player than I am a layer, just on the basis of what we've seen so far. I know it sounds mad, but the thing is, if she'd have just won the Cheltenham bumper or just won the Punchestown bumper, for argument's sake, I could probably say, well, actually, yeah, listen, it's only one piece of form. We're not sure where we've seen it, but the fact that she's gone against the Geldings 3 times, 3 different festivals, and won every single time, to me says that she's a good horse. And again, mentioned it before, I like horses that run well at Cheltenham and then Punchestown. For me, they're proper animals, and she's done that. So I would be a player if I had to pick one or the other. I'm probably on the fence, but I will pick player in this instance.
All right. Well, I'll say then if you're backing Bambino Fever for the Mares Novice Hurdle next year at 4-1, then you want your head checking or your accounts taken off you. Either way.
Shots fired, Craig. Shots fired.
That is ridiculous.
Why on earth are you coming at me like that?
No, it's not you. Just generally, that is the bookies taking the.
What's Craig done to upset you, Bo? Come on.
Sorry. Yeah.
Pick Bambino Fever for a Mares Novice. Clearly. You know what I mean? Anyway, right, we will move on to the Stayers Hurdle, and a horse which I'm sure will divide a lot of opinion amongst racing social media is Ballyburn, who is 6-1 favourite, and as we've now been told, going back over hurdles, so he's also going for the Stayers. Bo, we'll come to you. Obviously, we were over at the DRF when he won over there, and I know you were really keen on him to win the Browns after that. A couple of iffy jumps here and there, and then again got to Cheltenham and just didn't seem to be really fluent over his fences. So I can understand why they've brought him back over to hurdles. Do you think it'll bring the best out of him again? Do you think it's the right decision from Willie to do that?
The signs were there early when we saw him at Kempton that he hated fences, and we didn't want to believe it. Well, I didn't want to believe it anyway. And he broke my heart at Cheltenham. Turns out he hates fences, can't jump them. So sending him back over hurdles is the right thing to do. I'm a layer. I think he is just not as good as we thought he was. I think that he probably peaked earlier in his career and was ahead of the curve for the other novices, meaning he was way better than them. I think if you were to put him and Jimmy Desoy in the stairs together, I think Jimmy Desoy probably beats him. It's a short price. He's proved that he's a bit of a head case. No, thank you.
Joe, just touching on what Bo's saying there in regards to Ballyburn's form. I mean, if you actually take his fences career, so to speak, shall we say, or his fences season, obviously got beat by Sergino, which could be anything in terms of form. We just don't really know how good Sergino is. The DRF performance, in my eyes, didn't seem spectacular. And then obviously went to Cheltenham and ran a bit of a stinker as well. Do you think Bo's right? Is he just not as good as what we think he is?
Yeah, I do. I think if they persisted with hurdles after his novice campaign, then he'd be a completely different horse now. I think Sergino probably broke his heart a little bit. They thought they had him back when he beat Croke Park at sort of Leopardstown, and then going back again to Cheltenham Punchestown, he just looked like a horse that wasn't really enjoying himself. It's not even the fact he doesn't jump very well or anything like that for me, but he's far too quirky to be taken 13-2 now. His only efforts at 3 miles or further, he's been beat every time, and he's been beat by Champ Kiley, who is a bit of a gone horse. He's been beat by Lecky Watson by nearly 10 lengths, who people are seemingly quite happy to sort of discredit. So it's not even the fact that for me, that he's just going to revert back to hurdles and be the same horse that we saw in the Ballymore. For me, you're starting again here. It just goes back to my basic premise of horses as well, that if a horse is too quirky, that needs to be factored into the price, and I don't think it is with Ballyburn. It's like 13-2. Again, it's like, are you sure we're gonna get the best out of Ballyburn next season when he goes back over hurdles? Because I'm certainly not. I think they've got to go back to the drawing board,
I think as well, part of the price is everybody's thinking about that Ballymore performance that we saw and how imperious it was, but they're just discrediting that is a totally different race. It's for novices. It's 2.5 miles. He's going to be running in a championship race over 3 miles against top stayers. It's just a totally different kettle of fish.
His two wins over fences don't really look value for anything either, do they? He beat that Castle Dumont by 13 lengths, more than entitled to do so. The fact they then dropped him back to 2 miles against Sergino, it just stinks to me, gents. He's gone from 2 miles to 3 mile one in a couple of starts and really struggled. Yeah, you're taking a leap of faith if you ask me to back him. I know Jasmine DeVoe can't jump, but he likes his racing, whereas Ballyburn can't jump. His head carriage is all over the place. It's a big worry for me if you're going in there with a Ballyburn ticket and he's the last one in your Accas or anything like that. It's just not for me. No, so I'd be more than happy to lay him at this point in time. I think they've got better.
Yeah, I also think as well, you just don't know what damage it's done to him going over fences as well. Some horses, if they've had an absolutely torrid time, or even dropping back to hurdles, doesn't always work for him, does it? It's not a given that he's going to take back to hurdling like he did before. And I agree with you, but I think the Ballymore, even visually, was very good, but I'm not too sure how much value the form was when you look back at the horses that he beat and stuff like that. Like I say, visually, ridiculously impressive. Very similar to what Imperi Pass was that year when he won, when he come through the inside and just ran away with it.
Oh, he was so good that year.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think we got 3 layers. I think I'm definitely a layer on this one.
Yeah, layer for this one for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
I wonder if I'll actually back any of them.
I'm going to say, yeah, just thanks for your contribution here, Bo, so far. It's been really good.
The
right
bookies are taking a piss.
We are onto the chasers. And we're going to start with the Arkle, and it's Kopek de Board we're going to be speaking about now. So Kopek de Board, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's around about the 92-4-1 mark at this moment in time. I'll start with this one, and I'm going to say layer from the start, and I'm going to put my testicles in a vice, so to speak, and just explain why. Firstly, I don't think that Kopek de Board is a bad horse at all. Far from it. I think he's a very, very good horse. Very good horse. I would be more than happy to let him win his first Novice Chase and then more confidently back him at 15 to 8 or 7 to 4 than I would do back him now. And the reason behind that is, I said this a lot last year as well with horses who aren't fantastic jumpers of hurdles. You've got to see them first time out over a fence just to see how they take to it in race conditions. I understand. I think that he has schooled over fences. I think he's schooled okay, but schooling and a race environment are two completely different things. And I think we've seen the good and the bad of Kopek de Board's hurdling in some of the races that he ran in. Obviously, ran very well and jumped really well at the DRF. Looked really slick. Looked fine. Then even at Punchestown, threw in a couple of really shoddy jumps at some of the hurdles. So for me, I would be edging on the side of caution until I've seen him jump a fence. And yes, that might mean that his price will completely plummet. I've got no issue with that. I'll be more inclined to back him then, because I think if he comes out first time out, pings the fences, I don't think anything beats him in this division. That's just a fact. He is the best horse in the division, but I would like to see him ping the fences first time out and then look to try and back him. So at this moment in time, I'm definitely a layer. But again, I must stress, because there'll be a lot of people coming to hate me here, I'm not saying that Kopek de Board is a bad horse. I think he's a very good horse. I'd go as far as to say, if he went to the Champion Hurdle, I think he'd have a good chance. So that's how much I think he's a good horse. But I just believe with a horse like that, you've got to see him jump the fences first and foremost before you'd have any confidence at all at putting him into any bets. And I'm sure there's some people out there that are just throwing him into roll-up bets or stuff like that just to get a price on him now in case he does run well. I can't knock that. I can't say that that's the wrong thing to do. Just saying from my point of view, I would much rather see him jump the fences and then make a decision on how much I'm going to put on, basically. Joe, we'll jump over to you. Kopek de Board, obviously very, very impressive in last season's Supreme. Went a ferocious gallop up front, and he obviously was there throughout. So that's that second or third. What's your thoughts on him? Clearly likes Cheltenham, must have a good chance, but is it a little bit too skinny at this moment in time?
It is skinny based on, Ante Post years perhaps gone by, but I just have a look down the market a little bit, and there's nothing that stands out to me too much in the moment. They've got the New Lion, Con Hill, William Money, Bright Days Ahead, Aranci. Like, these are horses that are probably not gonna sort of turn up here. So everything I agree with everything you've said there, Craig, but I also don't like Lulamba. I'm not a fan of his for the Arkle at all. So
It is a fact of what's going to beat it, Joe, innit? I know exactly where
yeah.
you're coming from. It was similar, to be honest with you, the year that Gaelic Warrior won the Arkle. I don't think particularly it was a strong fancy, but you looked at the race and thought, well, what can actually beat Gaelic
That's
Warrior
it.
here?
Yeah, I agree fully, because look, I'm a big fan of pedigrees and physicalities with horses, and to be honest, Kopek looks like a chaser all day long. He's a little bit gangly as well. I think he could really thrive over a fence, but he almost looks like he needs a little bit further. But again, going back to that thing, it's like there's so many in this field that are probably not even going to turn up. So look, I'd agree with everything you said, Craig, but on the basis that I don't like Lulamba, I'd have to play Kopek de Board instead. So I'd say he's a player for now. I'd rather back him at 4-1 anyway than I would for like the New Lion or anyone like that for the other races. So I'd play him now, but tentatively with regards to what you said as well at the same time.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Bo, are you going to get involved in this podcast route? Are you going to back a horse or play
Yeah,
one out?
maybe at some point. Just talking about the Arkle generally, it is one of the races that I really do try to target early doors with roll-ups. Reason being, it's just the kind of race that a lot fall by the wayside because they're not classy enough, and you end up with relatively small fields, and even fewer of them actually have a chance. So, it really is a race that I like to target. So I've been backing Quebec for a little while now, simply because I don't actually think Milamba's going to go here. I think they might stay over hurdles with him for one more year, or if not, I think he'll show himself not to be a 2-miler. I just really don't think the Arkle is the race for him. So he's vying for favouritism with Quebec Boards. He's a complete false favourite for me. And then you look outside of Quebec and there's not really much in there. So you got Salvatore Mundi at 16s. That's about the only other horse that I would really think could go here. And he's obviously in the same yard. I will just let you know, Joe, the only reason that Craig is so bitter is because he tipped up a Rancy for this race in our podcast series.
I see.
And then about 3 hours later, Willie came out and said that he was staying over hurdles. So that didn't last very long.
Nice one, Willie.
So yeah, I'd be a big
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, nice one.
I think because they're all novices, it puts a very different spin on it in comparison to something like a New Lion. New Lion's got to go into a new division, and he's got to show that he can act with the big boys at a much different trip at the same price. Capec's starting from the same place as everyone else, if not ahead of them, because he's won the Supreme around there. So I think 4-1 is skinny, obviously, but I think he's going to go and win it. I think he's got the best chance. So I'm a backer.
Well, his bow's on. That must be something. Playing early doors, isn't he?
He must have had a word somewhere.
No. I do wonder, though. I mean, this is completely hypothetical. It seems that everyone was talking about Lil Amber for the Arkle and everything. And then it just seems like the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of talk about staying over hurdles, and there's been like little comments made here and there from like Nikki. And I just wonder, like, have they heard something down the grapevine? What's going on there? Because people talk.
I think they're a bit worried about what happened to Sergino last year. Now, there's nothing to do with him going chasing. His injury's nothing to do with it at all. But they've had a bit of a rotten luck of, runs really in the last few years. Sergino's missed 2 festivals now. Con Hill's not where he should be. So I feel like they're probably going to play a little bit more cautious. So I'm with you, but I think they'll stay over hurdles. I think they'll end up either going to the champion hurdle or they'll go to Aintree and not go to Cheltenham at all with him, actually.
I don't think it'd be the worst thing for the horse if they
Exactly.
campaigned him over hurdles and then took him to Aintree to go and win there.
Exactly. He's only 4, isn't he? He's a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
I think as well that I think they also might be waiting just to see Kopech's first Novice Chase as well.
Yeah, look, that's a very valid point as well.
I think they're probably looking at thinking, well, actually, we are probably one of the best horses in this division. So let's see how he gets on first time out. If he fluffs his lines or he don't look like maybe the animal we thought he was over fences, then we might bring him back into it like did with Sergino around Christmas time.
Here's a question for you. So if Nicky Henderson in the big jump off tomorrow announces that the Lambert's staying over hurdles, what price is Quebec?
2-1.
Yeah,
I'd just halve him.
Yeah. I'd say that. Yeah, 9-4, 2-1, something like that. I think straight away.
It's a shame, really, because the way the markets are these days, they are quite happy to cut horses off the back of quotes and things like that. Where back in the day, they'd allow you to have a little bit of that liquidity first, and first come first serve. But when a bit of it's gone, boom, we're chopping him, sort of thing. But it's
not interested now, are they, and stuff like that.
Yeah, they just change it on quotes, and William Money's a fine example, isn't he? He went from 50s to 20s when it was announced that he was staying over for the champion hurdle. It's just like, which I understand.
I do think part of it is though because anti-post punting is so popular now, and much more popular than it probably ever was, and so they are taking much more money on it than they would have been 20 years ago.
Yeah. I say as well, but like if you think of it this way, how many people do you see that, like, for example, this year next Cheltenham Festival, they'll be putting bets on, like, for example, Kopech de Boer to win the Arkle 2026 and the Champion Chase 2027. So people will be throwing tenors, 20 quid, 50 quid on that sort of bet as well before the Champion Chase has even gone. So then what happens is that the market's already got such a lot of money into it, or a lot of liability already sat there. So the price has to be lower from the start.
Yeah, and the thing is, field sizes are different now. I've been watching racing since even like Rooster Booster in 2003, and when he won the champion hurdle, there was like 18 runners in the race. I remember after Best Mate won his first Gold Cup, he was 20-1 for the following year, and then 16-1 the year after to win it again. You'd never see, I know the way you're thinking, 20-1 now, would you? And then let you sort of grab a piece of that and then cut it. So they've got to be cautious of field sizes. And I'm not being smart here, but there's a lot of people like you that like to play roll-ups as well, and they're petrified of these now because they can lose thousands off, a small amount sort of thing. So they're
off stupid bets.
Well, yeah, but like that's not to discredit you. We're punters. We're trying to win.
No, they are stupid bets, Joe.
But they won't give you a chance. It doesn't give maybe single punters a chance to take a bit of a bigger price. They're just like, right, no, we got to be smart. And
Yeah.
look, it's just a different world now, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
It
So
is,
we've
but
got.
there's got to be a point where it resets, isn't there?
You'd think
You,
so.
like,
It's sort of
like
like
how much shorter can these horses get
yeah, sure.
before the season starts? It's
Hmm.
ridiculous. Like, are we gonna next year, for example, whoever wins the Supreme, are they going to be 3-1 or are they
Yeah,
like 9-4 straight away?
Yeah, sure.
Like it's crazy.
They're gonna have to do something, but I actually genuinely don't know how they're going to do it because I can see it getting worse rather than better in the next few years. I really can.
Yeah.
The best thing people can do genuinely is not put any bets on them daft bets and Sky Bet and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Genuinely,
definitely.
just wait. Just wait. Anyway, right. So we've got 2 players on Kopek and 1 layer on Kopek. I'm going to be getting some right pelters off that if everyone that's listening to this.
Hopefully,
Yeah,
you deserve.
hopefully.
If they give you pouters, they've got to come and say sorry if he gets beat though in March. That's the rules, Craig.
Oh, of course, yeah, that old rule. Right, so we're going to move on to the Browns. Final Demand. Again, a horse I really like, but I'm going to have to come in early doors here and just say this has to be the worst price favourite of the whole Cheltenham Festival Ante Post that I've seen so far. But I'm going to start with you. I know obviously you backed the yellow clay for the Stayers Hurdle, so there's a bit of time form from the turners. But I mean, am I going mental, or is this just one of the worst prices known to man?
Yeah, it's probably one of the worst prices in history. But
in history, wow! I was going to say like this year, but
he's generally 5-2. Some places are 9-4. There's a couple of places 11-4. That's pretty terrible. I think as well. The thing that I would say about this is he was beaten over the course, so like that's not positive. And he was also I forgot my next point, but yeah. So 11-4, it's just way too short. But he's one of them where I really do think he's going to become a proper Gold Cup contender. So yeah,
if you dare say that you're playing this after hammering me for 4-1 on Bambino Fever, I'm just going to cut this link now.
No, I'm not. He's not acted over the course yet. Obviously, he's only been there once. So that's not too much. But the race has changed now with the changes they made last year. That it could end up with quite a few horses. Yeah, I know that didn't materialise this year, but because of getting rid of the turners, I really don't know how this race is going to look come March. So that's another factor for it. So, am I allowed to sit on the fence?
No, you can't. Tell him, Craig.
If you want to sit on the fence, but that's fine. But I'm going to go straight over to Joe if you are, because that's absolutely insane.
No, I'm a layer at that price. It's a horrible price.
Thank God. Thank the Lord. A bit of sense. Right, go on then, Joe. Just try and put a bit more sense on this conversation, please, rather than Bo considering backing Final Demand for Browns at 9-4.
Yeah, look, if you sit on your fence, you might as well be a layer because you're too scared to back him. That's the way I see it anyway. So, but look, he is too short. There's every opportunity that he could be special, but and look, I love point to pointers, but it doesn't mean, like you said, he can jump a national hunt fence and go on to do smart things. He's bred to do so. He probably ticks all the right boxes on form, but it's just too short, isn't he? And there's not the best record of favourites in recent years in the race. It can get a little bit messy, and so this is probably one I'd be a little bit more cautious about. I'm well aware he could turn out to be super smart, and if he goes and wins first time out over fences in a beginner's chase, which he's more than likely to do, he's probably going to be even shorter. But I'll just probably keep laying this fella. Look, obviously I've got Wendigo, and we're hoping to go down this route. But if I'm being unbiased, like this is where I'd be getting stuck into the likes of Jimmy DeSoy. I think this is a proper horse, and he's a massive price for this race. I think he's even near.
About 25 to 1.
Yeah, that's 40-1 here. But
40s, wow.
What firm's this with? Is it just with one? I know. Look, so you can get 40-1 with Paddy Power, Sky Bet, Bet Victor, Unibet. You can get
that's mental. That is a big price.
33s of 365. If you can get on any of these, I think that's a monster price because he's not going to go down the Arkle route. He's a stayer. I was really.
They have said he's going chasing, haven't they? But I really think they should go to the stayers.
Yeah, I agree, Bo. And he was actually sort of my early shout for the stayers, if you like. If I said if someone asked for a dark horse, I was like, oh, Jimmy DeSoy. As soon as they said chasing, I was like, missed the treat. But look,
but they haven't said. Isn't it the owner that said chasing?
Um,
Isn't it Mr. Ware? I don't think Willie said anything, has
I
he?
must be honest, this is probably one I haven't had a word direct for. This is something I've seen online as well. So
Yeah,
I'm going on what everyone else is
yeah.
seeing here. But I'd rather back him each way. I've got no problem backing horses each way, Ante Post, by the way, gents. That's
Mm,
something I do quite often.
yeah.
But you'll get an 8-1 a place about Jimmy the Soy, who's got proven form. He clearly enjoyed Cheltenham. He can run fresh. You could probably get a full campaign out of him. He'd probably improve a little bit more. So for me, I'd have to be a layer at final demand based on some of the other prices in this race. I could probably pick 3 or 4 for you out of that field that I'd rather back at the moment anyway.
Yeah,
I
I
wouldn't
think
want to actually lay him. Does that make me a backer?
No, I think if you're going to back something else, we'll class you as a layer of.
no, no.
No.
To be fair, but I think we are all in the same camp in terms of we all agree that he
Hmm.
could be quite a special horse over chasing, and especially
Yeah.
over the staying distances. We all agree with that. I just think at the price, I can't. I can't merit putting any Accas at 9-4 or whatever it is at this early on. And like you say, I mean, I'm going back now. I remember stuff like when Grand Cru were favourite.
Oh, what a horse.
I'd back Grand Cru. I had more of that, which were a JP horse that came nowhere. Jerry Colombe as well. Like these are three. Like the Browns, like really like scarred me in the past for like betting an anti-post because I have had some really good horses get to the head of the market and run and just not got over the line. So like I know that's also very, very possible because you look, like you say, look at some of the last winners that we've seen. I mean, there's been some really strange results of this race, especially. So yeah, 100%. I think three lays, but I think we can all agree that it's still going to be a very good horse. So again, no pellets our way, please. Right, next one. Very quickly, we're going to touch on Marine Nationale, but I just want one answer very quickly from each year. Will Sergino line up in the champion chase? Bo, yes or no?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Okay. I was going to be a no. So, okay. So two yeses and a no if Sergino's
I
going to
was
turn
I
up.
was trying to see the positives in him coming back, to be honest.
Well, let's move on to Marine Nationale because I don't want to jump on Sergino too much. I think we'll probably end up talking about it in a little bit way with Marine Nationale. Joe, also, we'll start with you. I know, obviously, the love you've got for the horse, obviously, in the past and the Supreme win, last year's Champion Chase win, which I think was quite emotional for connections and obviously with the whole backstory to it all. He's currently obviously sat at the head of the market at this moment in time. Do you think he is rightfully sat there? Should he be the favourite? I know obviously he's the reigning champion, but does he have a few horses to fear this year that are coming his way? Horses like, for example, if he does come back, Sergino, Majborough as well, and another horse. Should he be at the head of the market at 4-1?
Yeah, absolutely. He should be short. He should be a 5-2 shot. If the bookies are pricing up final demand at 11-4 and
5-2.
the new line at 4-1, then you've got a proven champion here. You've got a Supreme winner, a Royal Bond winner, a Punchestown Champion Chase winner, Cheltenham Champion Chase winner, left-handed, right-handed, flat tracks, undulating. Doesn't matter to him. He can do absolutely anything. People just enjoyed jumping on the bandwagon last year. He came into the season off the back of 2 runs. Now, the same people that were crabbing Marine all season for saying he had 2 runs are the people that are backing Sergino. So that doesn't make sense one bit. And Marine just showed you how much horses can improve from novice company into open graded company. When he got beat by Solness and things first time out, he'd had 2 chase starts. Solness had 17. Gaelic Warrior had like 7. And then he just improved and improved and improved. And this year he's coming in with he's gone out for the summer, he's eaten up, he's been fit as a fiddle, he's had a full campaign. This is the first season he's coming back absolutely raring to go. And you'll hear a lot of people on all of these season previews saying he's being targeted at Cheltenham, he's going to be prime for that. It's not the case. That just had to happen last year because he hadn't had the experience in grade ones. He bolted up on his first chase debut and his jumping was absolute dynamite. And he just blew out and he got an injury
Was that a Leopard Sound, Joe?
at
It was,
Leopardstown.
wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. First time out, and then
I,
and
I,
then
I remember him jumping final 2 fences and he absolutely winged them both, if I remember
yeah,
rightly.
yeah, he's amazing. Then he went back there for the Irish Arkle and finished 10 lengths behind Ilite Tomp, but he hurt his back. Mikey actually told us after the race that he thought he was at the third last and not the second last. And look, people just thought Barry was talking nonsense. Yet people aren't willing to. Barry told everyone that he was going to win the Supreme. He told everyone he was going to win the championship. He's done everything. He doesn't deserve the stick he's getting, but Look, the thing with Marine as well, gents, he's got an official rating of 170, and he hardly had a race at Cheltenham and at Punchestown. There could be still plenty more to come from him. He's actually coming, like I said, as a fresh horse, and Barry did exactly what he said he'd do. He'd improve as the season went on. He started off 145, 151, 153, 159, 167, then 170. He's getting better and better and better. He travels really smoothly, which is in really, real big factor. He's incredibly relaxed. Again, something I mentioned, he's in the parade ring, absolutely chilled as you like. He doesn't even give a blow after the race. It's like an away day for him. So yeah, people don't want to go sleeping on him. He's a proper champion. He's done it over hurdles. He's done it over fences.
Joe, sorry for interrupting, but just
Go for
just
it.
a quick one on that. What you're saying there about him getting better throughout the season.
Hmm.
Will that be? Do you reckon that'll be because I know obviously you're close to Barry anyway? Will that be a feature this season coming? Do you think he'll get better as the season goes on? So, for example,
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's going to do, but could we see a situation where possibly Madborough might beat him early on, but then as the season goes on, he then surpasses Madborough? Or
I think they're going to go different ways. I imagine they're going to send Majbur to the hilly way, but we're going to start with Marine in the Fortria chase at Navan. Again, it's different. Last year he was beaten by Calixios at Nace and then beaten by Solness at Leopardstown. But again, he'd had two chase starts. He only completed his first one, like, and he was literally a baby stepping into the big leagues. And again, Solness had like 17, 18 starts. And look, Barry's made it quite aware if anyone wants to go and watch my sort of recording with him from a few weeks ago that he'll start for Navan, but it's not like last year. It's not going to be out there to blow the cobwebs away. He's fit as a fiddle. Everything is A1. So there's no excuses. If he goes out and gets beat, so be it. I'm making everyone aware now there is absolutely nothing wrong with him at the moment. He's A1. He will be better, obviously, come Cheltenham. And to be honest, he absolutely loves it there as well. But it's not like last year. Everyone's always getting closer and closer. They just thought he was just getting beat by not being good enough, but he was improving every single time. And
yeah. We can
but
see that in the ratings, can't you, as well?
yeah, exactly. And look, yeah, to answer your question, I have played Marine National. I lump Marine every single year. I'll continue to do so. He owes me nothing from when he won the Supreme, and I shouted from the rooftops after he won his bumper. I said, "This is going hurdling. This is going to win the Supreme." At 28, so I backed him all the way down, even on the day. So look, it's completely different. But the one thing, it is vital that he has good to soft ground or better. Soft conditions won't be ideal for him. Um, just a quick word. Sorry, I know I'm ranting away a little bit here, but this is
We
something
know
he,
you love it, Joe. Don't worry.
yeah, look, like he
Do you
means a
think he's
lot
a
to me.
backer?
Yeah, absolutely, of course,
if
yeah,
if at the end of this
yeah,
he says lay, I don't know what I'm going to do.
yeah, exactly. But look, like but from a betting perspective, if you want to, be real serious away from my love for him, there's two ways I like to bet Ante Post, and I'm not a book builder. I won't back 5 or 6 in a race. It's just not my style. Nothing wrong with doing so. But I'd rather lump on a couple of horses. So I generally find a good to soft horse and then a good to soft horse. So I think if you cover Marie National at 4-1 and you back Madborough at 8-1, you've got the winner of the champion chase there either way. So I wouldn't be messing around with Sergino or anything like that. Yeah, look, Marine could be a 175, 177 horse come the end of the season, and
So there's
some
a little
people.
bit of prudence still left in there, possibly as well.
Yeah,
Then,
absolutely, mate.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So, Bo, just touching on something that Joe mentioned at the very start of that. If you've got stuff like the new Lion sat there at 4-1, and you've got Founder Man sat there at 9-4, is Marine National big at 4-1?
Uh, you put it like that, I
Be
suppose
be
so.
nice, Bo. Be nice.
No. 'Cause I think to be fair, I think it's probably it is a fair comment because if Sergino comes out tomorrow and says right, he's definitely out, he's not going to be running in champion chases. If it comes down
Yeah.
to, he's going to come down
No,
to 9-4, isn't
he's as Joe said, he's a champion and he's been there to the course and done it twice. So yeah, 4-1 probably is not showing him the credit he deserves. So yeah, I mean, I would be a backer of him anyway. I think the way he won it last year was super impressive. So yeah, I really like Marine National. The one thing I would just caveat, I think it will be a better division this year. I think with the likes of Majborough coming in, I think it will be hotter. I also think Ilate Tomps is a great horse. Whether he acts around Cheltenham or not is a different question, but I think he's a top class horse. I think the champion chase last year when John Bon, I mean, I didn't really fancy John Bon, but once John Bon had sort of blew away his chances, the race just kind of fell apart. Admittedly, Marine won by 18 then, so you can't really argue with that. But I think 4-1, I think is a very fair price, to be honest. And if you are someone that's looking for sort of maybe doubles or trebles, I think he's definitely one to put in there, because he's going to be there or thereabouts. I would just have question marks if early season he was beaten, he's going to be a bigger price. But get the day he's going to be backed in anyway, isn't he? I suppose. So
Yeah, I'm a player as well. To be fair, at 4-1.
You're
I
too
think.
kind, lad. You're too kind. I feel like you're doing this just for me.
No, I think like you say, he's got the back form there. He's got the form from last year. It's still a little bit up in the air if John Bond's going to even turn up and run at Cheltenham this year. So yeah, I think for me, I think he'll be, like you say, as long as the ground is right for him, then I think he'll be I think it'll be very, very difficult to beat. And while we're talking championship, I'll just throw this in right quick. I don't think Madge places in the champion chase, by the way. But that's a different.
piss off.
That's a different story. That's a different story
We'll come
completely.
back to him.
Yeah, that's time for that. Yeah, another podcast. That's for anyway. Right, lads, 2 more left to go. This one might be quite quick. Factor file Ryanair. I think from the last time I looked at the price, I think it might have come in a little bit more since. Is he around about 5 to 294 for those that? Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
I'll start because I'm very, very quick on this one. If he turns up in this race, I think he wins. I don't think it matter what else turns up. I think he's got the racing style that just suits this race completely. I won't be undeterred about what route he takes prior to that. I don't think he'll run in a Gold Cup. I think he probably could run in a Gold Cup and run well, but I don't think he will. I think he could be Allaho again all over. I think with this could this horse. I think he'll be around about 6 to 4, maybe even shorter on the day. I think the only horse that might come out of the woodwork, possibly depending on which route they go, might be Caldwell Potter, possibly. If they don't want to throw him into a Gold Cup straight, which I don't think they will do. But yeah, for me, definitely even a play at this stage of how short is. I can't see him being much more than that as the season goes anyway, because I think it'll be his target throughout. Bo, come to you, mate. Factor file. What we thinking?
It's hard to be a layer of him, really. He was so impressive last year. I remember on the day I was super excited for the race. I thought it was one of the best races of the week on paper, and I can't make up my mind if the race fell apart or he just smashed them. That's the thing that I'm sort of going over in my head, and depending on which side of the fence I fall on will depend on if I sort of get him on side or not. But yeah, I mean, at the moment, you're going to have to be a backer of him.
Joe, I mean, obviously, I know I mentioned Caldwell Potter. It's a funny one, is the Ryanair, because it's not really a race that many people seem to target with the horses. You either seem to be a champion chaser or you seem to be a Gold Cup horse. The Ryanair seems to get forgotten about a little bit, especially when you look at some of the past winners of it as well. It is there for good horses, but it just doesn't seem to get the. I don't know. It's a race that's lacking at the minute for me, I think, in depth.
Yeah, I'd say that's more than fair. And again, that probably plays into Factor File's hands, because I just go back to the same MO with Lossiemouth. I don't see why Willie would sort of take him out of the race and risk him running in anywhere else. He's the best horse in the division. Unless something comes up to him, it's his for the taking. There's one win on the board straight away. So I don't think he stays either, Factor File. People are adamant that he should be trying for Gold Cup, but he got outstayed by Grange Clare West when they ran at Leopardstown. That's not good enough for him. And they even rode him for speed. They sort of tried to switch him off out the back and then play his cards late. And even when he picked up, Galapan.
Yeah, that was at the DRF, wasn't it?
Exactly, yeah. Look, and then Galapan pulled away and Grange Clare West even overtook. And that's not good enough to be a 3-mile staying chaser. And the fact that they rode him for speed tells you that they think the same, in my opinion. So reading between the lines, he is absolutely the one to beat in the Ryanair. Outside of Lossiemouth, he's probably the banker. I'm not saying he's the best bet. But I have backed him, so look, I'm a backer. Yeah, 5 to 2.
No, to be fair, Joe, I'm not. I actually think he is the banker. I think if Willie Mullins came out tomorrow and says, right, we are going to be targeting the Ryanair with Factor File, and regardless what he does this year, that's what his final destination is going to be. I actually think he is the banker of the week.
Yeah,
I just don't know what gets near him.
You don't find many horses these days that are genuine sort of middle distance horses as well. We usually find 2-milers or 3-milers, but he is every inch. Like, he's proven to us he's not a sprinter. He got done in a sprint by American Mike going back some time. He couldn't win a bumper. He couldn't win over 3 miles at Leopardstown. So like he's a middle distance horse for me. I think Willie is. I think Factor File has told us that himself. I think the evidence is there in his style.
He's in the same mould of Allaho, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And
there's a lot of similarities.
like you mentioned there, Bo, as well about earlier. You said you like Gaelic Warrior for the Gold Cup. Like he looks like more of a stayer than Factor File does, and you'll hear people say
Yeah,
Gaelic Warrior needs soft. It's absolutely nonsense. The reason he ran on soft over 2 miles was because he wasn't quick enough for horses
yeah,
over 2 miles. That's why they initially thought stayers or the Brown Advisory. As soon as it got soft, they thought,
yeah.
well, we'll chuck him in there because he'll probably outstay them anyway. So that's what happened, and
Hmm.
I think on that basis, then you look further down. Madgray, he's going to go 2 miles. John Bond, he'll go champion chase. I think Caldwell Potter might not be good enough. Ilate Tom's probably the Mullins number two, I'd say here, because Imperi Pass will probably skip it and just go to Aintree, I'd imagine. But
I'll
yeah,
I'll give you three horses that I think could run a very good race
yeah,
in
do
here.
it, do it.
Maybe not beat him. I think Django Bay. I
Hmm.
think Django Bay could step up and be a class horse. I'd like to see Grey Dawning in here. I don't know what the plan's going to be with him, but I think that would be a very interesting horse to throw in. And I do think Impera Pass would be interesting as well.
Mm.
And I think all of a sudden, if them three were to go here, and if buts and maybes, I think it would all of a sudden become a much more competitive race.
What about someone like Jaguar? If he won the Paddy Power over 2.5, is he going to maybe go this way? Or the Jukebox Man, he might go to the
I
Paddy
was I was
Power.
just looking at the jukebox man. I mean, you
The,
wouldn't want
the
to back a
jukebox
horse with
man.
his sign of injury, but
I really hope he comes back in decent
That'd be
form.
great. He's
I
so
thought he
good.
was fantastic last year
He's
before his
yeah,
injury.
brilliant.
I
Like,
think we mentioned it before.
great
Like,
jumper, great
yeah,
jumper.
and we're quite big fans of handstands, aren't we, as well?
oh,
And
good
Yeah, yeah,
stuff. Me too, lads. Good.
obviously, Jukebox Man absolutely destroyed him.
yeah.
So yeah, be interesting. Hopefully, he comes back. Hopefully, he comes back fighting fit anyway. Right, lads. On to the last one then. So it's the Gold Cup. I know the way you're thinking. 4-1. Joe, I'll let you see us out, mate, with your opinion first and foremost. 4 to
Yeah.
1 for the Gold Cup on him. I know he won well last year.
Mm.
There's arguments to say that Galopan maybe wasn't at his best last year. Um, yeah, where do you see it at 4 to 1 for the Gold Cup in October?
Yeah, he's not for me now because we might have even discussed this off camera, lads. Like he's going to get beat first time out. He's going to get beat at Christmas. You know, he's not going to stay at 4 to 1, is he? Again, this is advice for book builders. Like, don't rush in to back these horses. Think about what's going to happen because he's likely to get beat twice before we even get to Christmas, and then he's going to drift a little bit. So just hold fire. I would be laying him to the hills at this time for sure.
Have you heard whereabouts he's going, Joe? Is he going to run it, John Durkin? Is that where his plan is, or?
The plan is the John Durkin, but it's the same plan for Factor File and Spillan's Tower at the moment. So one of them's going to have to go elsewhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, because of that, I wouldn't be surprised if they were a little bit more patient if I know the way you're thinking and then waited until a little bit further down the line, perhaps. Either way, Craig, he's only won 3 of his 10 chase starts already. I think he's going to get beat a couple of times, whatever happens, because he will be targeted directly at the Gold Cup. Look, before as well, something to mention before the DRF, they were discussing about him being a Grand National horse. That tells me they weren't even sure if he was up to the level. I wouldn't be mad about that form last year. I think Galopan could be the one horse that comes back and regains and wins it again for a third time because yeah, look, I'd be laying, I know the way you're thinking, I would bad bet right now.
So it's rare you see multiple Gold Cup winners. So just for that reason, you've got to be a bit of a layer at 4 to 1. Is he as special as the likes of Galopin de Champs and Albin Photo? I don't think so. The one thing I would say, I totally agree with what Joe was talking about, the fact that he's going to be beaten a couple of times, and I think the chances are he will. I would just pose it that maybe the National was the plan the whole time, and they weren't actually running on merit those first three occasions
Ah, yeah, interesting. Yeah, fair enough.
before the weights came out. That would just be my question mark.
No, very
I
fair, very fair.
I think it's amazing they went and won a King Muir with him, and he went off six
Yeah.
to what was it, 13 to 8. That is seriously impressive that they managed to hide that much ability. Great horse. I was really pleased he went and won. I wouldn't be backing Galloping at all. I think he might go and win throughout the season, but you'll find out how gone at the game he is when he gets up that hill or doesn't get up the hill. So yeah, I think it'll be a competitive race. Gator Warrior's going to go and win. Just save your money and put it all on him.
No shying away from that ball. Straight on, yeah. Gaelic
No,
Warrior
no,
done.
he's the winner.
Joe, just very quick then. Also, while we're talking about the Gold Cup, then obviously I know
Yeah.
where you're thinking. There's three three layers here, understandably so. Where do you see the winner of the Gold Cup at this moment in time? Are you like Bo? Do you think it is Gaelic Warrior?
I do, mate. Yeah. I'm with Bo. Yeah, we just haven't seen him campaigned as a 3 miler yet, so you have to sort of take it on chance. But everything he showed us at Aintree suggests that it'll be no problem. Like he hammered like who did he even beat? Did he beat Grey Dawn in?
Yeah, Grey Dawning, yeah.
Yeah, and look,
He's all the British folk.
yeah, and but he's a good horse, and I think Aintree suits Grey Dawn really well, and Gaelic Warrior had no trouble passing him. Again, it's sort of like he's a horse that sort of sits behind the bridle, so he gets better as the race goes on, and look, he's the one in this field that could be absolutely anything, couldn't he?
Yeah.
You're getting a double figure price to take your chance, so yeah, I do like Gaelic Warrior. I'm also a fan of Lecky Watson. I feel like I'm just fighting his corner though at the moment until they say no, you're going to the Grand National, because it's easier to say that he's no good, because he won the Browns at 20-1 or whatever he was, but he beat the Hot Pot Ballyburn, he beat everything else in the race, and I know
Days and jumps. That's what you need.
Yeah, exactly, and yeah, he's a nice horse. You don't have like these sort of flashy horses win the Gold Cup often, so
No.
look, I'd love Galopin to come back and do it, but I'd be with Bo. I'd take a chance on Gaelic, to be honest, and yeah, Lecky as well would come into the
I
equation.
think at the prices as well, Gaelic is just the one that stares you in the face. Like he had a really good end to the year last year. He's got decent enough Cheltenham form, second in a Ballymore, second in a Boodles when everyone thought he was going to win. Like I do think it's just staring everyone in the face, and he's still 16-1. Yeah, so.
And you guys like handstands as well, because I do, especially if it turns up heavy on the day. I'd love a piece of him at a massive price.
Yeah, he just reminds me of an old school chaser.
That's it.
Like he's just going to grind it out.
100%. I see exactly the same. The only thing as well, then, just again, we're just going around in circles. But then if it is that soft, Galopin suddenly comes back into it. I know he's old though. Can't have
not
it,
a chance. Not a chance. I
Mm.
wouldn't back him at 100-1.
Bo would lay you anything, Joe. Bo will lay you anything on Galopin des Champs.
Well, there's your clip. I will back him at 100-1.
I will get I better not. We'll get some right people messaging us. Absolutely, some right donuts coming in and messaging us. Right, very, very quickly then, before we finish, just give us what is the best current favourite Ante Post at this moment in time, Bo.
Marine National.
Joe.
Marine National and Lossiemouth.
And I'll say Factor File.
I think that's a good treble, to be fair, Craig. I'd say you got a good treble there.
Yeah, Marine National, Lossiemouth, and Factor File.
Yeah, because they're the three for me anyway. For now.
Yeah. Very good. Right, chaps, listen, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for listening, you guys as well. We'll be coming back to you as well shortly with some more content. But for now, thanks for joining us and catch up with you all soon. Cheers, guys.